There is a putty that costs $3 at any hardware store. You press it into the gaps around your drafty windows with your thumb. It seals them completely. Your furnace stops running overtime. Your heating bill drops. And in the spring, you peel it right off in one clean strip, without leaving a single mark on the frame. You do not need tools, you do not need a caulking gun, and you definitely do not need a contractor. Just a soft roll of non-hardening clay that your grandparents bought every October and pressed into every window in the house before the first frost hit. The United States Department of Energy has confirmed that 25 to 30% of all residential heating energy escapes directly through windows. That is not through the walls, or the attic, or the basement. Through the windows. Gaps in the frame, failed weather stripping, cracked seals. For a household spending $200 a month on winter heating, that is $50 to $60 every single month, pouring out through cracks, you can feel with your hand on a cold night. A $3 roll of putty eliminates that loss in under an hour. Then a $12 billion industry decided you should never learn about it. In March of 1943, in the middle of the Second World War, a company called J.W. Mortel in Kankakee, Illinois, filed a trademark application for something they called pliable plastic tape. It was a soft, gray, non-hardening rope of putty that could be pressed by hand into any gap, crack, or seam around a window. It stuck to wood, metal, glass, and masonry. It did not dry out, did not crack, did not shrink. And when you were done with it, you peeled it off cleanly and threw it away. They named the product Mordit. And for the next 40 years, it was one of the most common household items in America. Every hardware store carried it. Every grandmother knew exactly where to find it on the shelf. Every fall, families across the country bought a roll or two, walked through the house, and sealed every window before winter arrived. The process took less time than raking the front yard. No skill involved, no instructions needed. If you could press your thumb against a window frame, you could weatherize your entire home. The product worked because the physics are brutally simple. Cold air infiltrates a house through gaps. Rope caulk fills those gaps completely, creating an airtight seal that stops convective heat loss at the source. The putty molds itself to irregular surfaces, fills cracks that rigid caulk cannot reach, and maintains its seal through an entire heating season because it never hardens. And then, the spray foam industry showed up. Starting in the 1980s and accelerating through the 1990s, expanding polyurethane foam became the homeowner's go-to solution for sealing gaps. The cans were everywhere. Great stuff, DAP, touch and foam. The marketing was aggressive and effective. Spray it in, watch it expand, problem solved. But here is what those cans do not tell you on the front label. Expanding foam exerts enormous pressure as it cures. Applied around a window frame, standard high-expansion foam can bow vinyl jambs inward by more than 3/8 of an inch. That is enough to make the window impossible to open or close. Contractors on professional construction forums have documented cases where expanding foam shattered the glass itself. 7 out of 22 windows destroyed on a single job site because a worker used the wrong can. Window manufacturers know this. Their installation instructions explicitly warn against using expanding foam around frames. Some manufacturers will void the warranty entirely if they find foam in the window cavity. The product designed to fix your drafty window can permanently destroy the window instead, and that destruction leads somewhere very profitable. Once the window frame is warped, the homeowner calls a contractor. The contractor looks at the bowed jamb, shakes his head, and recommends a full replacement. The average cost to replace a single window in the United States runs between $650 and $1,000, including materials and labor. A typical home has 10 to 15 windows. A full home window replacement project costs $7,000 to $15,000. The window replacement and installation market in the United States was valued at over $12 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $20 billion by 2033. Now consider the math from the other direction. A 90-foot roll of rope caulk costs $3 to $5. One roll seals approximately 6 average-sized windows. 2 rolls cover an entire house. That is $6 to $10 for a complete home weatherization. One afternoon of easy work. The only tool you need is your hands. A $10 solution that eliminates the problem a $12 billion industry depends on cannot be allowed to exist in public consciousness. Nobody banned rope caulk. Nobody recalled it. You can still buy Mortite today at most hardware stores if you know to look for it. But you have to know to look for it because nobody is telling you it exists. Walk into any big box home improvement store and ask an associate how to fix a drafty window. They will walk you to the spray foam aisle or the weather stripping section or the window replacement desk. They will not mention the $3 roll of putty sitting quietly on the bottom shelf 3 aisles over. Not because they are hiding it on purpose, but because the entire retail ecosystem, from product placement to employee training to in-store signage, is designed around solutions that generate higher revenue per transaction. A $3 sale does not move the needle. A $12,000 window replacement project does. And there is a second layer to this burial. The heating and cooling industry generates over $150 billion per year in the United States. That revenue model depends on homes losing energy. Every drafty window that forces a furnace to run an extra 30 minutes per day is revenue for the natural gas company, the electric utility, the HVAC technician, and the filter manufacturer. A perfectly sealed home is a home that consumes less energy, and what consumes less energy generates less profit for everyone in the supply chain. Rope caulk cannot be patented because it is a non-hardening putty made from mineral oil and calcium carbonate, the same basic materials that have existed for over a century. You cannot build a franchise around it. You cannot create a service contract for it. You cannot charge a diagnostic fee to press putty into a crack. And what you cannot monetize at scale, you have to let disappear from the conversation. Now, I need to be straightforward about the limitations here. Rope caulk is a seasonal solution. You apply it in the fall and remove it in the spring. It is not a permanent fix for windows that need structural repair or replacement. If your window glass is cracked, if the sash is rotting, if the frame itself has failed, putty will not save it. But for the vast majority of drafty windows in the vast majority of American homes, the problem is not a broken window. The problem is air infiltration through gaps that measure fractions of an inch. And for that problem, a $3 roll of putty is not just adequate, it is the ideal solution. Here is exactly what to do. Go to any hardware store and find rope caulk in the weather stripping aisle. Mortite is the original brand, but MD Building Products makes a nearly identical version. Buy a 90-foot roll. Start at the window with the worst draft in your house. You can find it by holding your hand near the edges of the frame on a cold day. Where you feel moving air, that is where the putty goes. Pull a length of rope caulk from the roll. Press it firmly into the gap between the window sash and the frame using your thumb. Work your way around the entire perimeter. The putty conforms to every irregularity in the surface. Press it flat so it sits flush with the frame. That window is now sealed. No air is moving through those gaps. The furnace does not need to compensate for the lost heat. Do every window in the house. The entire job takes less than an hour. In the spring, when you want to open the windows again, grab the edge of the putty and peel it off in one continuous strip. It leaves no residue. It does not damage paint, wood, vinyl, or metal. The window is exactly as it was before you applied it. Your grandparents did this every single year. It was as routine as putting storm windows up or switching the screens. They did not call a contractor. They did not spend $15,000 on replacement windows for a problem that $6 worth of putty solved in an afternoon. They understood something that an entire industry has spent decades trying to make you forget. The draft is not a window problem. It is a gap problem. And gaps do not require a $12 billion industry to fix. They require $3 and your thumb.